Hello, welcome to another exciting episode of To the Edge. With me again this week are women in the film industry, and we'll pick up where we left off last time. But first, I want to reintroduce everyone in case you didn't see the last episode, and shame on you if you didn't.
Hi, I'm Carlin Fournier. I'm an actress and a voiceover artist in the New England area. I'm trying to expand into producing and directing, especially projects that have to do with a social cause. I like to use the media to promote important messages.
My name is Morgan Duffy. I'm a hair and makeup artist based in Connecticut, but I do films all over New England. And I mainly do independent films, and it's super great. I'm looking to branch out probably into the major motion pictures eventually, but right now I'm good where I am.
I'm Rochelle Topping. I work as a crew member on productions. I do a lot of assistant camera work. I also do script supervisor, sound, I've done art department, any sort of crew role, you name it, I've done it.
My name is Anna Rizzo, and I am an actress in the New England area, and I really love just the art of storytelling. I just fell in love with it, and I really love being able to develop strong, dimensional female characters.
Hi, my name is Erica Derrickson. I'm an actress, host, and producer in the New England market. I absolutely love film. I'm sorry. I totally messed it up.
Yep.
Can I start over?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Erica Derrickson. I'm an actress, host, and producer in the New England film market. Some of my career highlights include one of my films that went to Cannes Film Festival in 2012. I was featured in Imagine magazine in the Women Who Work in the Industry issue in November. And I was also this summer, I had a principal role in the latest Sandra Bullock movie that filmed here in Boston. I'm also the founder and moderator of a community of filmmakers online. Today we hit 2,000 members. It's called Hollywood East Actors Group on Facebook. And I'm just in general excited to be here and excited to be making it happen in New England.
Hi, my name is Ashley Amber Bottoms, and I'm in pretty much all forms of media. There hasn't been anything I haven't tried yet. I have done everything from runway modeling to radio, movies, television, you name it. You probably see my face there. I currently am a co-host of a radio show on Unregular Radio. I am also currently taking the initiative and doing my own stories on my own page on Facebook. It's called Bottoms Up Appetite for Discussion. And I cover a lot of events in the Boston area. I'm also the founder of a trans organization called Sisters Family, which has 4 chapters in 2 states.
Cool.
Totally.
My name is Tiffany Crosby. I am an actress and comedian extraordinaire out of Lowell, Massachusetts, and I'm very excited to be sharing my positivity and hopefully a lot of humor with the media. So I'm looking forward to expand more on my comedic aspect of life. It's wonderful. Yes.
My name is Candace Cummings. I'm a producer and I have a production company called Purrent Productions. I'm also an actress and a hair and makeup artist. And like the other women in this group, I'm very excited about making films that have to do with social issues and getting the word out and creating a positive change, definitely.
My name is Maria Natapov, and I've had the pleasure working with all of these wonderful women here. I am an actress in the New England area, just looking to pretty much expand into, like Candace said, important causes and helping to bring awareness to things that influence and inspire positive things for society and life in general.
And my name is Roland, don't mind the chromosomes. I am a script supervisor, I'm an editor, and I produce and host public access programs.
You are totally outnumbered.
Yes. So, we're going to pick up where we left off last time. Take it away, Maria.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we were just discussing how an actor prepares for their roles, and the women have brought up wonderful points about doing research for the character and kind of remembering and calling into being, various experiences they have had that they can relate to the story or to the character, or anything personal that they can bring to it to make it whole and more dimensional and more relevant, to really reach the audience. And I was just going to say that I think all of us can probably, whether subconsciously or consciously, also acknowledge that a lot of times you could do all of this work, but ultimately the creative process comes from the day of. You just have to drop in and trust your gut and sort of be flexible and open to director's suggestions or whatever the other actor is doing that you maybe didn't anticipate. And you just have to kind of trust that it's all going to be there and let it happen. So if any of you have anything else to share with us on that point, we'd love to hear it.
I love really getting a role that you come across that you just have to build from the ground up. Like some roles you'll get, and they're not too much of a departure of you and kind of the essence of you. But sometimes you'll get this role that you really just kind of have to build from the ground up. But what I love about it is that all human experience is, we all experience it. Like there's nothing, when you really boil it down to what's actually going on in the scene and what's actually going on in the script, we've all felt that at some point. Maybe not to that extent, maybe not to that degree, and maybe not with those circumstances. But if you really boil it down, when you get a character who's crazy, like we've all kind of touched into that. Or when you get a character who is like, violently angry, we all know what it is that could push us into that direction. Or when we get someone who's grieving, maybe we haven't had all those experiences, but we know at the very least what could push us there really quickly. And I love being able to just spend the time and do the research, go online, like interview people, like watch all sorts of things to kind of really build this character. And then one of the things I love is that after you're done with and you're wrapped, I'll see little touches of that character in my personality for a while, or I'll see little mannerisms that I did like in character, and I'll be like, oh, that was someone I just played, and it's neat because I find you learn about yourself as much as you learn about the character when you develop the character.
Absolutely.
If I may, Anna just said something really important. Learning about yourself helps you learn about the character. I think that to know thyself as an actor is one of the most powerful things that you can do for your craft.
Definitely.
For me personally, I had a lot of life experiences before I ever got into acting, including like backpacking across India, things like that, things that were very challenged me in many ways. And I find now that those experiences are sort of what give substance to my performance these days. For example, as far as how to prepare for a role, this summer my favorite role that I had was Liza von Trost in a film called Melt, which I did with Rochelle here. And she was this fabulous movie star. The character was inspired by Audrey Hepburn, Princess Di, Jackie Onassis, and Penny Lane from Almost Famous. So it was like this wonderful amalgamation of women, and all these different influences there. And so instead of really my preparation, it was not like an external thing, like going and, sure, I went and looked at all the resources, but I found the emphasis for me, and this is why I need to be very, very careful about what roles I take, is that it was really sort of like a journey into myself and finding this character inside of myself. And I just found that as soon as I became the role, when I was auditioning for it, I cried over that. I wanted that role so bad. There's never been a role that I wanted as bad as that one. And I found that when I did finally get the green light to really, it was more just finding her inside of me, and like these little things, and even just learning how to grow my nails out, and just learning how would a movie star present herself? How would she carry herself? What's her posture? How would she speak? What are her little mannerisms? What is that thing? And then just finding that within myself and just using that as an exercise to just really just merge with this character, because as Anna said, there are universal experiences that we all share, and so there's truth. There's truth in every character. There's truth in ourselves, and I think that the process of preparation is just connecting those truths.
Yes. I think it's important also to mention, when you ask how actors prepare for a role, it's one thing to prepare, but you also have to know how to walk away from a role. Yeah. For me, like I mentioned before, preparing for a role is, okay, you prepare, you research, you stay out of your head, as my coach Kevin Lassett taught us over and over. Because when you start, you always kind of want to look good, you want to look your best in any role you have. And then that becomes a problem. When you get a role where you're not supposed to look good, you're supposed to look crazy, you're supposed to look grieving, your hair's a mess, your makeup is on your face, you have to stay out of the head and just forget about it. Just forget where the camera is and go for it. Having said that, having just played schizophrenic, when you're done with that, the next day after I've researched that so much and I played crazy, you know, towards Norma Jean, the next day I was crying all day. Looking at my little girl, I was like, and my husband was like, what's wrong? I was like, I just gotta walk away from this role. I mean, you know, the abuse and it's very, very important. So it's one thing to prepare for a role, but you also have to walk away from it. Take walks, take deep breaths, and just know that even though you found that character inside of you, it's not who you are, you know. You're an actor, so that's an art.
It's true. I mean, acting it's a very personal thing, and it's also a very cathartic thing. You know, it gives you an opportunity. You don't have to be an angry person, but you have anger in you, whether you express it or not. And when you get a role like that calls for a very angry character, it provides an outlet for that thing that's already inside of you to be released. So in that way, it's acting for those of us who are really called to do it. It's almost like a form of like therapy.
It's like a playground. Playground.
And it's a way to give
Really
voice
love it.
to people who wouldn't necessarily have a voice. And that I think all of us were probably drawn to it because at some point you've had that feeling of not being able to express something and not being able to get people to feel and empathize with something that you really needed them to. And I think we have that opportunity in film to get people to really truly feel and experience, not just hear.
Wow.
Definitely. Just to add to what Carlin was saying, I think it's important to, for those coming into it and doing really serious roles like that call for such almost extreme behaviors that one doesn't necessarily, when they're in a healthy state of mind, get to express and tap into. It's important to almost give yourself time and know it's going to take me a while to come away from this character and kind of let them go. And I've definitely had experiences like that where it would take a week or sometimes even longer, and almost knowing that you're not going to be yourself for a little while and kind of preparing yourself mentally for that, and realizing you're just going to need to do certain things for yourself and be kind to yourself and give yourself that time to cry your heart out for days at a time, locked
especially
away.
if you're using method acting.
Yeah.
Because you're like submerging yourself in that character. So you gotta cut it off after a while.
I've been on set with some actors and actresses who have just gotten so deep into their character, the day of the shoot, that you almost can't even talk to them. They're so just in the moment that they'll bite your head off, and they don't, it's not them, they don't mean it, but they've just gotten themselves into that headspace, and it's cool to see that transformation from this person you met maybe at a table read or a production meeting to this person you see now who's either so one extreme or the other, maybe so happy or so sad and crazy. It's really neat from my perspective, from my behind the scenes perspective of that.
Yeah, from the non-acting perspective, it's always just amazing seeing these actors in the element. It's really something that I think you don't really get when you're watching the movie, is that it's just as powerful on set.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think this actually brings up a great point that I'm very curious about. We've been talking about, all of our experiences. Where is it that you see your career going? Is there any particular direction that you're choosing to focus all of your efforts to right now? Or is there perhaps a particular project that you guys are looking forward to doing that is maybe different than anything you've done, or you're just particularly passionate about that you could share with us at this time?
Well, the way we can do that is we can have each of you talk about it individually for maybe 2 minutes each.
So we
Okay.
could just
Let's
go
start with
around
you.
and start with. Sure.
So I have to say that when I first started acting, it was really with the goal of kind of becoming famous. And over time, I started realizing what a powerful media that film is. And I'm so relieved to hear so many of you say that you want to take film and make a difference. And there are so many films and ideas that I've heard, and a project that I'll soon be starting here, surrounding, the subject of racism, which I'm already working on a film involving that, so it's even more motivation. But it's this film called The Grass is Always Greener, and it's about this little boy who grew up in a very racist family and went off to live his life and always fought this battle with his father. And it turns out that as the father stayed in the area where he grew up, where it was predominantly a white neighborhood, over time it turned into a black neighborhood. And what ended up happening is that when the father was in need, none of the people that he had teamed up with back in the day were around, but it ends up being that all of his black neighbors are the ones who end up helping him in the very end. And so it's amazing because like this, when my subject told me the story, I was incredibly moved. And I was like, you know, this is something that has to get out there. And not even that, but other social issues, you know, dealing with, you know, I think I heard someone earlier talk about bullying and things that are just going on in today's nation, you know, with, especially with Ashley Amber Bottoms here. You know, there are so many things that, you know, through your media of filmmaking, you have the opportunity as well to
Address.
you know, help others. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'll let you go.
It's
Yeah,
about giving back as well as,
definitely.
you know, I mean, when I take a role, I take a role representing the transgender community. I want to show people that, you know, you're only limited by yourself. If you're going, you know, to say, well, they won't want me on the set because of who I am, I'm here to tell you that's false. It's, you know, you have to sell yourself regardless of who you are. And I can honestly say that I've been part of at least a dozen films, even if everything from a speaking role to a walk-on role, whether it's television or major motion picture. I've been involved in a lot of things. I mean, I've done runway modeling back when people said, well, it can't be done. And I'm like, I don't believe you. I have to see it for myself. And so, you know, you go out there and next thing you know, I'm wearing a $300, you know, Sol Dior dress, walking the runway in Boston. And, you know, I'm telling the people that tell me this, I'm like, you keep believing what you want, but I'm just going to keep moving forward. Yeah. And, you know, it is. It's about giving back as well. You know, you have to give back. I mean, my voice is pretty much the voice of the trans community right now as far as film. I don't see a lot of us. There's a few of us out there. But I'm hoping to see more of us out there and maybe in more major roles.
Absolutely.
Right now, we don't seem to be getting that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to pioneer that right now.
Film is incredibly, incredibly powerful, and I think that we are all underestimating what we can do. And on top of that, even being, you know, women, you know, we're already. There have been plenty of times where I've walked on set and have been like, oh my God, I'm surrounded by nothing but guys, and feel like I know nothing about it. But then, you know, as you go on and you continue to learn, you start to see I can do lighting, I can do sound, I can get my shots, I can tell a story. And then when you combine all of that and that inner confidence with the social issues that you want to touch upon personally and things that you see affecting other people, I mean, honestly, we're unstoppable.
Yeah.
With this.
Absolutely.
And if you hone in on it as a filmmaker, you are unstoppable and you're reaching new heights that you never saw yourself reaching, and no one else may or may not be supporting you in. We completely underestimate this art, and it's amazing.
I think as far as I'm concerned, I would like to be known in the industry as obviously an actor, but I made the decision a while back that I wanted to be part, like we just said, I wanted to be part of the mechanism that bring news home or messages, because I've always wanted to be an anchor, a reporter. That's why I lived in Atlanta for 10 years, background in production, broadcast news. Now forward 15 years, I'm an actor now, and I'm like, how can I merge that with the power of the media and take messages out there by associating myself with movies that have to do with social cause that need attention.
Yeah.
So I took that stand a while back, and I think it was the best decision ever, because in a matter of week, I've been cast in something that has to do with anorexia, autism, and now I'm up for 2 other roles, in one about texting and driving, and one about bullying. And I'm like, how more social issues can you get, you know? Of course, I just produced something also that has to do with anti-teen drunk driving, which is another great issue that was so much fun. but that's who I want to be known as. Yes, an actor, but I want to be associated with, yeah, let's get Carlin. She's all about these cause. That's what I want to be known as.
You know, we're talking about power of the media. As a teen myself, you know, a teen in the digital age, you know, I'm 19 years old. You know, these movies that are coming out, kids are way more inclined to watch a film about texting and driving and then sitting in school and, we got to listen to this guy talk, for an hour about something we're not really going to listen to. And so it's great to be a part of a community that does all these projects, and it really is great because you're seeing, of course you get to be behind the scenes and do all the set stuff that you usually do, hair and makeup and all that, but the message that's coming out of these current films is really something to be, not to be messed with, I guess, because it's hitting home to a lot of people, and it's cool to be a part of something like that. And yeah.
And also through the web. We're thinking film, TV, radio. The web is so powerful now with all these web series. You can literally get something done and bam, it's on the web.
And it's
so
viral. It's viral.
Go ahead.
If I may build on that, one of the projects that I have that I'm really excited about right now is actually a web series. Carlin just mentioned the power of the web being a new platform, a very powerful platform for film content. So I have the lead character, the co-lead, in a web series called World's Worst Director. It's being filmed down in Rhode Island, and it's a series about web series directors, which is really great. So I play Penny James, the arch nemesis of the lead character Moses, who's actually played by the director Seth Chitwood. And what I love about web series in particular is that it allows for small bite-sized pieces of digestible content to go online and be immediately distributed
Yes.
and consumed by this sort of like fast-paced social media, internet-prone world that we live in now. So I think one of my personal goals that I'm working towards, not only am I endeavoring now to brand myself more as like a host, and that's a whole other area that I want to go into, but I'm also interested in developing my own web series and my own content. And what that does is it puts the power in your hands to disseminate your content, to have a presence online, to build your portfolio, and in essence to build your brand. What the internet does is it really empowers all of us to make things happen for ourselves. And I think what I wanted to touch on before was one of the big differences between feature films sponsored by a studio and the low budget / no budget independent films is there are far less gatekeepers. So when you're going for a studio role, you have to meet people, you got to meet the casting, you really have to please a lot of people in order to get yourself into a position just where where you're on screen. But with independent film, those gatekeepers are now sort of irrelevant because you can make something, you can distribute it online, So it's putting the power in the hands of the people who are, creative entrepreneurs making it happen.
Absolutely.
Your own
Yes.
boss.
Wow.
And I was actually going to mention to the point that Ashley made, where you'd like to see, people from your community get more serious roles. That's the beautiful thing about independent film is, you get to network with people like this, and then you say, we're going to write something of our own, and we're going to
Right.
put this issue at the forefront of what we're doing, and it's just a wonderful platform to
I've
be able to
actually
do
done
that.
roles where people have come up to me and they say, I'll give you a shot, and then they go, you know what, I got something else coming up.
Yeah.
And I'm writing something for you.
For you, yeah.
Because you just floored me. Like what I did not expect you to be what you are. Like you,
Yeah.
you are. It's not. You're the talent you bring, the professionalism you bring to the set and to the film. I just want to put you in something else.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say, show. I'm trying to. My brand is to be a pioneer. I want to show others that it can be done. When I first came out, it was basically we were just segregated to drag bars. I was actually telling this to Candace on the way up here. I said, enough. I don't want to go to a drag bar once a week and that's it. This is who I am. So I founded Sisters Family, which is a trans organization to help bring people out into the mainstream. And people said, Ashley, you're out of your mind, you're out of your league. Nobody wants that. I'm like, no, because if I feel this way, then there are other people that feel
Absolutely.
this way. And here we are 6 years later, 4 chapters in 2 states, and I still organize all the online content from my computer in what I call Sister Central in the basement of my house. And I said, well, why can't I do that for myself with my career?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I started, the first role I had was in a comedy horror film called Hooked, which is actually supposed to be released this year. And they were looking for someone that was like 10 years younger than me, a brunette, and very petite and maybe 5 foot tall. And they got a load of me and they were like, she's nothing like we want. And then my producer, who I'm still friends with, was like, he told me the story and he's like, and I called the director and said, well, we got to get her. There's something about her. We got to get her. And he said it was the best thing we ever did. Wow. And, I'm trying to show people that if you believe in yourself, I don't mind being the first. I don't mind being the guinea pig for our community. I believe in myself that much. So that's why now I want to get into radio more. I started doing my own production. I started doing my own stories. I'm like, there's nobody covering all the things going on, like the home shows, the auto shows, all these, flower show in Boston. Nobody's covering these events. And I took the initiative and I said, you know what? I contact these people and tell them, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I want to come down. I want to do a 20-minute story. I will give you the story. You can use it however you want. And all these events, they're eating it up. And so I find myself literally booked with events, like just this month alone. And I do all the editing, the directing, the producing. I do everything, the music, everything is myself. I was up all night last night putting something together. So I mean, I want to show not just so much the community, but everybody. If you want to do it bad enough, you can do it.
All right, now we have 3 other careers to touch upon. So can you tell us your ambitions?
Well, for me, I think what's really cool, what's kind of happening in the film industry, I think is kind of what's happening a little bit, like what happened to the music industry a little bit, in that there was this change where all of a sudden you could get music online. And I think what we were touching on with the internet, where you can watch film or you can watch, web series, or you can put stuff online. I think there becomes a market for, you to market yourself in, but there's also a bunch of people there who want it, who want it to be accessible. And I'd love to just keep getting roles where you can really create these odd characters that you wouldn't see in film, or you wouldn't see developed as much in studio films, because they're kind of a little, they might be kind of the supporting character. They might be kind of a little too odd. They're not necessarily like the generic good-looking all-American person. And I really love those roles where you can develop them and create them, and and really kind of get weird, and get human.
Is there anything else that anyone else would like to add about their ambitions and what they want to do in this field?
I'll add, sure. Well, hello. let's get started, shall we?
Quiet too long.
It happens. I'm an actress, like I said, but most recently in November, I decided that I would venture on this crazy career called stand-up comedy. And people always, had said to me, I work at a restaurant, and people would always say to me, do you just tell me you have a show, that you just take this around with you? No, I don't. I just work here. And so people saying that just all of a sudden flooded in, and I said, you know what?
It's time.
Let's just do it. Let's just talk about what I talk about in my pajamas on my couch with my brother and my husband. Let's just do that. Let's just talk about it on a stage, and if people laugh, that's great. Now, before you get on that stage, every day before I got on that stage, it was like, okay, that was good. That was a funny idea that I would do that and tell people to come and see me, because that's going to be funny. It's great. I'm excited.
Rochelle?
It's going to go great.
I'm from a different standpoint being crew, but even from the crew standpoint, we get a chance to still help out with these great messages. I know one of my favorite groups to work with is the Stories by the River group. They're the ones that did Melt, and they do these pieces that inspire discussion. And when they do the premieres of the film, they'll have everyone come in and start just a discussion about the topics that the film touched on. And I've really enjoyed working with them and getting, maybe not so much of an obvious message, but still these stories that have messages kind of hidden within them.
All right. Well, that's all the time that we have for this week's installment of To the Edge. I hope to see all of you on the show next time. And is there anything you'd like to add, Maria?
I think it's been a successful segment about women in the industry. Thank you all so much for coming to share your stories and your perspectives and your background. I think it's just
Thank you for having us.
Very much.
All right. Thank you, and see you next week.
You will.
Take care.